All right, here we go. Friday. Good morning. Welcome to Win the Day podcast. Hope yesterday's awesome. Hope tomorrow's twice as good. We're here to talk about how to win today, and apparently it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, week. What are we doing, Destiny?
Month.
Okay. Here's my take on that. And it was recently National Daughters followed by National Sons Day. You didn't know. And when it was National Daughters Day or Son, both, I remember thinking, you know what? I'm quite happy having every day being National Daughters or Sons Day, right? From my perspective. And carrying that forward, I think every month should be Breast Cancer Awareness Month. However, like we were talking before we started this, if every month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, then how do you know any different? I'll tell you a quick story. Back when I was a wrestler, I'm 6'3". Can you imagine me wrestling? My arms.
What was your weight class?
All right. I'm going to go back to 7th grade. I wrestled 148. And then 8th grade, I wrestled 156. And then 9th grade, I wrestled heavyweight. And I probably weighed 140.
I weighed 132 my senior year.
Right? I don't weigh that anymore. But I had these long arms, right? And I was just this God, I look like a spider out there. Anyway, so I was wrestling one day and I was getting thrown around and it was just a nightmare. And I may have told this story before, but I'm old. That's what you do. So I'm out there wrestling. I'm getting thrown around. It's a nightmare. Whistle blows. Everybody runs to the water fountain. This is back before you walked around with these gallon containers of water everywhere. So we went to the water fountain, right, and got in line. Except I didn't go that day. I sat there on the mat and cried. I cried because I was having a rough day. And Brent Monahan, can you believe I remember this? This had to be like 1978. I remember Brent Monahan. He was the assistant. He was like a high school kid that was helping out the young kids. Comes over and he was asking, are you all right? What's going on? You injured? And the only thing that was injured was my pride. And I distinctly remember him to this day, all these years later. He just said, you know what? It's going to be all right, dude. You have to have bad days to enjoy the good. Because if every day is good, you won't even know it. And it's kind of the same. I've taken that lesson everywhere. Some days are bad, and you should appreciate that. Don't look for them. Don't go wanting them. But if everything's the same, there's no difference. So how would you know if it's good or bad? So I'm glad it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Yes, at the end of that. All right. So anyway, what we're going to talk about today is the future of real estate as we see it. Because here's the thing. I look at my guys, I look at me, I look at y'all, and I see grinding. I see people showing up every day, doing the job, pushing, just doing what you're supposed to be doing. And yet the results are, right? I wish they were better. You know, I'm talking to the people, I'm asking the questions, I'm doing the stuff, and there's just not enough sales. What's going on? And that's hard. It's really hard. And then you start to wonder, well, when's it going to change? When are the good times coming? Are they ever coming back? And here's what I would tell you. They are absolutely coming back. I was talking to a friend of mine, another broker, and I was telling him, he was telling me his war stories. I was telling him mine. And we got to the point where we agreed that we're closer to the end of this downturn than we are to the beginning, that the end is in sight. And last Friday, a week from today, Gary had his mastermind call, and he was talking about start looking for some changes in the market. It ain't now, not today. It's start looking for some improving in 2025, and then look in 2026 for the number of transactions to pick up to a level where we're going, ooh, look at me, right? But there should be some relief in 2025 as rates come down, mortgage rates come down, affordability is going to open up for a bigger group of people. All right, just the way it is. And then you have your natural ebb and flows. If you think about it, people move because they get married, their families are growing, they get a new job, they lose a job, they retire, they get tired of where they're at. Life happens, right? And what's happened over the last 2.5 to 3 years is people have hit the pause button on life because they have this super low mortgage rate. And they're commuting as opposed to moving to their job, or they're staying in place as opposed to upsizing or downsizing because they have this great mortgage. But as rates come down, less is that spread of great and good and okay, right? And so as rates continue to come down, and they came down greater, the federal funds rate at least came down 50 basis points when most people expected 25. And that was already baked into mortgage rates because they've already fell a little over a point already from that, from even last year. But the expectation is there's going to be another federal funds rate drop this year, likely, and then there'll be several next year. So in 2025, by the end of 25, we would expect mortgage rates to follow. They're not directly connected to the federal funds rate, but they generally work in concert with that. So look for 2025 transactions to start to go up. And in 2026, I think you'll start seeing volume. In 27, now you'll start this upward trend that we should look forward to. But here's the thing. Now listen to this. Pay attention. Listen to this because this is massive right here. What comes next? The folks that are going to participate the greatest in that upturn are the ones that are putting in the work now. The people who are grinding now, that are talking to the people, the owners now about their hopes, wants, and dreams for real estate when the market gets to a point where they can have hopes, wants, and dreams again and act on them. Okay. The folks who are previewing properties now in the markets they want to dominate, that are studying the market trends now. Because if you're doing all that now, one, you're staying sharp, you're getting known, and you're knowing what your people want. All right. You're creating leads for when the tipping point hits. And as long as you know what that tipping point, that trigger is, you can act on it. But if you don't know, ain't nobody acting on nothing, right? So please stay the course, settle in. Yeah, it's going to be tough. There's not enough checks. I get it. But stay the course, talk to your people, ask them when they're going to move, if they move, where they going next, and when would that be. Take notes, make notes so you understand the tipping points, the triggers. And you have some system in place that triggers you to their triggers so you can be there when they need you to be there. If you do that, when you do that, if this market starts to turn, you're going to be standing at the front of the line, grabbing up as much as you want, rather than being at the back of the line, elbowing people, trying to pick a scrap up here and there as everybody tries to start running. Don't be that people. Be the people at the front of the line. It's going to require work. It's going to require confidence. It's going to require faith. But I promise you, I've been doing this a long time. I study it deeply. I have great coaching. I can promise you what's happening yesterday won't keep happening today, and tomorrow will be completely different. The only thing that stays consistent is those who grind win more. End of story. So keep grinding. You got to have faith. Go with that. Go with that. Mark, what do you got? Can you add to that?
Yeah, what I heard once was the problem with instant coffee is that it takes too long.
Oh my
and other than it doesn't taste great. But the fact is if you're in the grind, coffee grind, if you're in the real estate grind and you're not succumbing to that impatience, which is 97% of realtors who are wanting the instant coffee, they're not going to do the pour over. They're not going to get into the work of it. You're going to set yourself up because most realtors, and I hate to say this, but a friend of mine from years ago, before I was ever in real estate, he was a developer. He said, Mark, I got a dirty secret for you. I said, what's that? He goes, most realtors are lazy. And I was like, what? Yeah. He goes, no, they're lazy. And I found that the great ones aren't, but the majority are. And I don't say that to bash, but to inspire us to say, look, get up and get into the grind. But that's your edge. You take good notes. You follow up. You stay in this game. Get lean so that you can be there for the gleaning, the harvest, and you will shine because most are sitting there waiting, saying, I want the instant coffee.
No doubt. No doubt. If you wait for the market to move, you're going to get washed over. It's just the way it is. And that should be exciting for you. if you're a worker.
Well, think about the surfers. The surfers that catch the waves are the ones watching, and they're ahead of that wave. They're not going, oh, there's a wave, let me try to, and it's already past them.
That should be exciting for you, because you know that if you swim out there where everybody else is sitting there looking, you will get that wave. And that's exactly right. Yeah. Knock on the doors, call on the phone, ask the questions, have the conversations.
And take the notes.
Yeah. Destiny, tell us where you fall on this.
I fall on this where I'm in that season now. It's a tough season for me as a realtor. You know, business has slowed down a little bit after the summer, but it's staying in that grind like we're talking about, making more phone calls and talking to more people and being okay, being uncomfortable for a little while. You know, I've invested too much to just stop. And I'm learning so much. There's so much that I've learned in this past year in this business, and it would be all in vain to just stop. So got to keep going.
There's no doubt. It's good. You got it, but it's hard. Is it fair to say it's hard some days because you make a lot of calls, you talk to a lot of people, and it seems like maybe nothing's happening?
Right.
But you got to do it, right?
Have to keep going.
Can I tell a funny story on her? Can I tell a funny story?
Yes, please.
Destiny was in the grind, making her calls, calling around, prospecting. And when you're doing a general canvas call, it's like a general letter or what have you, you're going to inevitably come across a listing, right? You're going to come across something that's active, and that's not a violation of NAR ethics. It's just, it sometimes happens, and you can't target listed properties. But she got a message from somebody going, you're violating rules, you know, an agent that was threatened by it. And because they're not out doing the grind. But guess who then the next day shows up with a buyer saying, hey, I want to show your house. Destiny does. And that person's now falling all over going, oh my gosh, yes, here's heart emojis. I want you to bring a buyer to me. So kind of funny.
Yeah. There's just absolutely no doubt that when you do the work, the opportunities show up. When you don't do the work, they might show up. Lottery tickets can win, but I'd rather show up and do the work.
Yeah.
Good job, Destiny. Kyle Hawk says, grind or get grinded. My dad, 45 years of sales. Good job, Dad. Right? I couldn't agree more, right? And here's the thing, the more you grind, the less of a grind it really is. It just becomes what you do. Julie, you've done this for a minute. What do you think?
Well, one of the things is when you stay in touch with your database or your sphere of influence, you're going to know, you know, one of the questions, when would that be? You know, when you're asking people if they were to move, when would that be? You're going to know who your fire hot warms are, your 30, 60, 90 day people are. And one of the statistics I recently saw was the number that influences people that historically has been the number that the interest rate needs to drop to for sellers to want to sell, for that gap to be close enough to where they're at, is 5.8. Basically, when we get below 6, and that's starting to happen, we're seeing that. So we're starting to see some movement. And the other thing is fourth quarter this year, a lot of the research is showing is going to be the best quarter of the year. So it's for us, our market, December is usually very slow. It's our second worst month. So, and that's a national statistic, but the point is keep grinding. We're on the verge. And if you know the people that are about to move, or, you know, it's just going to take a little something, a little trigger or something to get them over the hump, you're going to be aware of it. And, you know, it takes some while to get people out of the gate, to get the train moving down the track. So if someone, and this is a lot of people I'm running into now, needs the funds in the house that they're living in to move to the next home, they need to sell. We're starting to see more contingencies. Sellers don't like contingencies. Sellers got used to not having to take contingencies. So there's a new education of the market. So just get ready and be looking for those people who are going to be 2 transactions and getting their homes on the market, getting them prepped, getting them staged, getting them inspected so you know what to fix. Just get people moving down the track now.
So good. So think of all the things that go into play here. As mortgage rates come down, affordability goes up, right? And that's clearly coming. But there's a dance that goes with that. As rates come down and affordability, purchasing power goes up for buyers, sellers are sitting there thinking, oh, look at you. Anybody who would pay me X would surely pay me Y, and prices are going to go up too. So there's going to be a window of opportunity where buyers can get what I would call probably the lowest opportunity to buy in probably the next lifetime, right? And so if you're in talking to buyers and sellers, you understand who's selling, who's buying, who's doing just whatever. You're going to have an opportunity to push as many people through that damn window as you can, because then the whole thing's going to reset as the numbers reset, right?
Yeah, just be aware. Be aware of what the people, who are your fire hot worms, who are your 30, 60, 90, going to take action people, and get them moving. At least get them painting the house, or, fixing the thing, having this, that, or the other inspected, starting to pack so that their house looks better when you put it on the market. Start getting people moving down the track.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to grind. You got to show up. Yeah, it's slow. It sucks. But I absolutely promise, if you do that, you'll have more opportunities. It'll get easier and easier, because people think about what the buyers and sellers want just for a minute. They want it easy, right? They're averse to confrontation. First of all, most people are. They don't. Contrary to social media, most people don't like to argue and be confrontational. So they want something easy. And if you're always there in their orbit, they're seeing you, they're hearing you, they're watching you, you're easy for them to say yes to, right? Because you become somewhat of a known quantity for them. That's why they go back to the agent they bought with when they list. That agent can be dead 50 years, but they're going to, blow the dust off that file and see what was that lady's name? And you think she's still around? And then they go to it because they had some success. They might have, at the closing, might have hated her, right? I mean, how many of us go to closing, just eyes forward, don't say a word, just get the hell out of here, right? Yeah. Just because of the tension and stress that goes with it. But they go back to these people just because they're what they know. But if you do
there's subconscious comfort in something that known versus fear of the unknown. And that also comes with multiple contacts and multiple visual impact. So if someone has seen your face multiple times, whether it's on a sign, a flyer, face-to-face, a podcast, when someone has seen your face multiple times and they recognize you, they get to this point of thinking that they know you, and their subconscious mind, because they've let you in, likes you and trusts you. So if you're in front of them multiple times, there's this chance that they're going to be comfortable with you. And then when they're ready to pull the trigger and you are there standing on their doorstep, calling them face to face, they're going to pick you.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think it's kind of like Amanda said, being recognized just like they would recognize their doctor or their dentist. And, I used that line this week talking to somebody. Hey, you need a realtor just like you need a doctor and a dentist. You go for those regular checkups. I want to do regular checkups with you as well. And so I think it's being available to them and being frequent in their headspace to know, hey, she's the person I need to go to when I need a checkup regarding my real estate needs.
Okay, so this is weird. Jesse says, just keep doing the work. It won't seem like anything is happening. And then all of a sudden, one day it happens. My dad, 50 years of sale, Kyle Hawk. Jesse and Kyle have the same dad? There's a story there. Cool. Love it. Thanks, Jesse. Awesome. Very cool. All right, Mark, take us through this. What do we got?
Well, I think it's staying in the grind. It's staying in the work. Success happens slowly, then suddenly. Markets change pretty quickly, and those who've been in the hunt are the ones who are going to take full advantage of it. So you've just got to get into your rhythm And to Julie's point, get out there and be known. It is the nature of people to remain unchanged, and people go with familiar. So be so present that they're familiar with you, that you're the no-brainer when it happens.
So here, absolutely, Mark, absolutely, be there. So Jason says this, that her dad's been in real estate since 1975. I wonder if he had those big bell-bottom pants. Anyway,
or he started. I bet you he started in real estate in 1975, knocking doors.
Do you think he walked like John Travolta, carrying the paint cans?
Yeah. Oh my gosh!
As he's door knocking. So great. But at any rate, the kids told my dad that their father had passed away, right? But they found his business card in the kitchen drawer that said, "Call this guy when I die to sell my house." What amazing!
I like that.
That is so great. That is so great. Just, I mean, that's like a will. That's so cool. And you know what? That's part of estate planning. Use this realtor. Good for you, Jesse. I hope you have cards like that everywhere, and I hope you don't die for a long time. But so great. What a cool story that is. All right, Destiny, take us one last thought.
Stay in the grind. It will pay off. Just like they said in the comments, it will pay off. That day will come where your pipes burst. So just stay at it.
Love it. Julie, what do you got?
Well, one of the things I would say is you can always offer people who own property a complimentary real estate review. And to Destiny's point, just like you need a doctor and a dentist, you need to know what the value of your home is worth. This gets you inside of people's properties. So, get in there and give them a free real estate review so that they know what their equity is, what their position is, if they wanted to sell, if they needed to sell quickly. And that's something that I try to do on the 1 year anniversary every time someone sells. But it's a good excuse to get an appointment, get in, see people's houses, what they look like. And then you can be giving them contractor names for things that they need to have done. My roof, my pool, my landscaping, my fill in the blank. And that way you get to stay in touch with them. And like Destiny said, you need a doctor and a dentist. You need a realtor to keep you aware of what your value of your property is.
Love it. Love it. All right. So here's the deal. Here's how you're going to win the day. First of all, understand better times are coming. All right. And they're going to come bigger and better for those that are working and doing it. Just the way it is. Story of life, right? Mortgage rates are coming down. This is a big thing. Mortgage rates are coming down. That means affordability is going to open up for more and more people. The lower they come down, the bigger group of people that can buy. Super cool. People still want to move. They haven't. A lot of them have pushed the pause button, but they still want to move. Life still happens. People get married. People die. People have kids. Kids move out. All that stuff. Get married, or they get new jobs, lose jobs, whatever. Life happens. It hit a pause button artificially because those rates were too low. But that's coming back. As these rates come down, the spread between that great rate and not as good of a rate changes, and people are going to move. So please get out there and talk to your people about what their triggers are. If you were to move, where would you go next? When would that be? Right? So easy. It's such a simple conversation. If you were to sell, where would you go next? When would that be? Now you know where they're moving to, where they would go, and when. And then just make sure you're understanding those triggers so you can be there when it happens. All right. Know your people. Make sure they know you. Even if it's a business card in a drawer that says, if you're reading this, I've died, but please use John to sell my condo. What a great, God, that's a cool story.
That's a legacy.
Yeah,
that's so great. All right. So that's how you're going to win the day. Now,
John, real quick, do you have time to answer Julian's question super fast? Julianne?
Julianne Patton, since you guys have been through multiple markets and different state here, let me help. In different stages of real estate, what were some of the most difficult points in your career, and how did you get out of them to keep on going?
That's a show unto itself.
What's that?
That's a show unto itself.
Yeah. You got any quick one hitter?
Get lean, throw overboard any unnecessary expenses, and double down on your activities that lead to business. There's no other way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny, can you answer? You've only been in this a short period of time.
Yes, I'm in that season now. Get comfortable with ramen noodles and peanut butter and jelly.
Love it. Love it. Julie, how about you?
Yeah, cut your expenses as much as you can, and really look at your goals and your vision. And I'm just going to echo what Mark said. That was last year for me, 28 years in the business, and last year was my worst year ever. I had 12 closings, which was half as many as I needed to be able to be cash flowing. And I just had to cut everything and get face-to-face. I started doing a lot more open houses. And then when people come into an open house, they're thinking about buying or selling, period. So I just focused on the hots. And the first half of this year, I had 150,000 in net sales from open houses by the end of April.
Love it.
So face-to-face, voice-to-voice with as many people as you can, cut your costs.
Awesome. Awesome. I think what I would fall back on is fundamentals. Get really good at the process. Love the process. The results will take care of themselves. We've been doing the same thing forever. And we've done well in down markets. We've done well in up markets. Now they move, right? We generally do better than others, but we're down in down markets. And we generally do better than others in up markets because we do the process. And that process is built around lead gen and getting really good at our job, understanding the market, being really good at identifying the motivation behind buying and selling, and moving people towards their desired outcome.
You've got to memorize your scripts so that you're not nervous when you have somebody. You've got to memorize the few things and the goal that you have. And the goal is to get an appointment. So you just got to remember a couple of things to get them talking so that you can get an appointment. And that's what you focus on, is getting the appointments. And when you have them talking, being able to listen and not trying to think of the next thing you're going to say.
That's fundamental real estate. Get really good at the fundamentals. You'll be great in up markets and you'll be good in down markets.
Learn to listen. Look for promises to keep.
Yeah. All right. So here's what we're going to do. It's Friday, end of the week. We want you to go into the weekend feeling good. So you're excited to come back on Monday, that your friends and family and pets love you more over the weekend. It's just a better life. So you need a win. You need to go home on a win today. So when you're done with this call, write out a little goal for the day that will create a win for you. All right. I'm going to talk to 20 people, 8 people, 1 people. I'm going to follow up on every lead, 1 lead, 5 leads, whatever it is. Create a goal that you can achieve for the day that's hard enough that it's just not a gimme, but not so hard that you don't get it done. So you can go home at the end of the day going, yeah, that was a good day, good week. I'm excited about next week. That'd be a great win for you. All right. There you go. Let's regroup on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Bye-bye.